And now I have the pleasure to introduce Gary, who's going to talk about play, another sort of practical element of how you can get hands-on with creating culture. Here you go. Thank you. Here's that.
Hey, everybody. Oh, gosh. I have props. To be expected, right? We're talking about play. So before we get started with that, I thought it would be fitting to do an activity to get us all together, to get us all excited, to get us rowing in the same direction. So what's going to happen is I'm going to play a song that probably most of you know, and if you don't, you will know in just a moment. And the expectations is, as soon as the words start, you start singing along. So hold up. Let's get a little bit louder, because if we're going to rock out at 11, we need to take it to an 11. So, all right, so here we go, hopefully. All right, so this is a song that you all should know, and we're going to start to sing it together in 3, 2, no, we're not going to sing it. Fooled you. However, you don't have to answer out loud. I bet you there's a few of you that are like, oh, hell no. This motherfucker is going to make me sing in front of people I don't even know yet? And this is supposed to bring us together? See, that's the thing with most team building and things at work, is that the intention is like, oh, we're going to do this cool thing, y'all, and it's going to be amazing. And then some people are like, oh, fuck. I should have called in sick. Damn it, and here I am. And it defeats the purpose, because I'm going to talk about how play is something that, as Aaron mentioned, we're wired to do, and it sets the stage for such amazing things. So instead of doing that sort of activity, we are going to do an activity that is a little bit easier. Matter of fact, you've been practicing this since we started. It started with Perna and Rob. They got us started. We're going to do an activity where I'm going to say some statements, and if it happens to be true for you, you just raise your hand. Matter of fact, we have no lie detectors here, so if you don't feel like you need to disclose that you like to day drink, just don't raise your hand. The whole purpose of doing this is to show that we are more connected than we're not. So I do invite you to, maybe challenge yourself. Hopefully you feel comfortable enough to just, maybe a little, and we'll see what happens. So I'm going to make it easy. So if you are a morning person, raise your hand. Cool. Awesome. What about night owls? Any night owls? Ooh, all right. Interesting. I learned this recently. This is a new term. So we have early birds, we have night owls, we have hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are people that don't necessarily like to get up early, and you find yourself falling asleep on the couch by like 7:30, 8 o'clock. If you are, right? Ask my wife, and she will say, yeah. She has receipts that she shows me all the time. So, all right, cool. You're doing amazing. Where are my extroverts at? A few. Awesome. Cool. Ambiverts. Any, people that see, right? You have extrovert tendencies, but you need to power up. And I'm coming for this. So be brave. Introverts. You can just go, hey, I'm here. Blink. Just blink. All right, a few more. Any firstborns in your family? Oh, wow, so interesting. All right, babies, the youngest in the family? Oh, my gosh. Only children. Wow, just a few of you. Awesome. That's enough. And finally, we did not forget about you middle kids. All right, cool. All right. Has anyone ever felt burnt out? Oh, snap. Okay, cool. Noted. Anyone left the job that maybe started out as a good idea, but ended up like, no, I got to get out of here? Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's freaking amazing. Right? I told you that's not that hard. Hold on real quick. There it is. All right. So, show of hands, anyone find themselves learning something about someone maybe that you just met or maybe that you already knew that you didn't know before this? All right, cool. Wow. Look at that. We're already starting to make a connection. So, who am I? My name is Gary. I run a company called Breakthrough Play, and we use playful elements and improv thinking as a transformation tool. What is that? It just helps you learn skills that you probably should have learned in college, but you didn't, and you need to learn on the job. The question that I get asked a lot is, are you an actor? Nope. My background is in marketing and communications. That's what I paid over $100 and something thousand for to go to art school. But if you would have asked my mom, she said I've been making things up since I can talk. And why is that important? Is that I've been in most of your shoes. I've been through corporate. I've had really great managers. I've had really shitty managers. And I've been a manager myself. And I'm going to talk about my story here in a bit. But more importantly, let's just get to brass tacks. We're in a very challenging situation in that a lot of folks are burnt out. This is a stat that came from Gallup that very few employees are actually engaged. And if we want to make a difference in the world as an organization, we need to get more people, again, rowing in the right direction. But how we used to do it is not effective. Matter of fact, there's so many other stats out there. There was one that Business Insider put out that they did a study of, I think, over 1,000 companies. And 95% of them, and actually it tracks with what I saw here in the room, thought about leaving a job and cited burnout as the reason. Wow. So we know there is a challenge. We know there's a challenge, but how do we get there? How do we start to shift things and get folks excited about being at work? Now we don't, as Aaron mentioned, we don't have to be family, but we should respect each other. And we are working so hard, but yet we're getting so little done. And it's because we're using old solutions and we're trying to fix new problems that are just now starting to arise. And so this quote right here from Richard Sheridan from the book Chief Joy Officer really hits home in that, so we have the systems that we have in place now, they're designed to produce the behaviors that you're currently experiencing. So it's like, what that quote that is attributed to Einstein, you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's usually what's happening. And there is a solution to all this, a solution that most people overlook. And if you saw the title of my talk, you probably know what I'm going to say. But it's very, very challenging because our brains are averse to change. You can learn all that you can here, and I invite you all to take lots of notes, have lots of conversations, and you need to realize that the change is going to be challenging, and we're going to demonstrate this by a quick activity that I want you to just where you're sitting, cross your arms in a way that feels normal and natural. Just go ahead, cross your arms. All right, cool. Look down, notice what hand's on top and what hand's on bottom. All right, here's the change. Now cross it the opposite way. So the opposite hand's on top. Now most of you are getting confused, like most of your teams at work is getting confused. If you manage to do it, you're probably resisting right now. You're just like, you're trying so hard to keep it that way, but your brain wants to pull it apart. All right, go ahead and cross it. Just like at work. Oh, we tried that thing and it didn't work, or we're going back to how it was. All right, cross it the other way. Cross it again. Oh my God, all right, it's getting a little easier. It still feels challenging, right? But it feels weird. And that is what's gonna happen. That's called homeostasis. All right, let it go. So homeostasis is your default way of doing things. As a species, as a community, as a culture, we've been working the same way for decades. And up into maybe the 90s, it was working, it was fine. It was just once communication started taking into place, we have these smartphones, that things began to get challenging. Before smartphones, the only people that could be contacted in an instant and reply back were doctors and drug dealers. Doctors and drug dealers. Now, I bet you some of your boss are trying to get a hold of you. So I say all that to say that, all right, how do we change it? How do we change it? And it's all about play. When I started, every job that I started, I saw the world as a playground of possibilities. But then I get into the work, and it turned into a proving ground. And I bet you can relate to that. Mostly proving to myself that I can do it, but I started burning myself out. I started getting stress. And matter of fact, when I approach my inbox, it's the same thing is happening in my brain as if I'm being attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. The difference is, it doesn't go away. If you're being attacked by a saber-toothed tiger, you either get away or you die. Inbox is still there. So this is something that we're all experiencing, and so we need to deal with that. And there is an anecdote, and the anecdote is play. Yay, play. However, as I talked about before, it's something that is very, very challenging. It's challenging because we have seen play as something frivolous, something that kids do, unfortunately. I like to invite you to see it differently. And I have a thing that I like to call purposeful play. And there's a lot of benefits to purposeful play, as you can see here. One of the big things is it helps you with resilience. Think about a time when you were younger and you played a game. Whether it was a sport, whether it was an activity, whether you're alone or with a group. I'm 99.99% positive that when things got rough, you didn't say, oh, I am done with this, forget this. You actually said, oh, all right, cool, what do we need to do differently? Imagine if you can take that spirit, that energy, and bring it to work, bring it to your teams. And so with purposeful play, it's what I call that is taking playful mindsets and playful activities and bringing it to the workplace to affect performance. Because we are wired for play, and if you think about up until probably grade 5, everything you learned was through play. We are monotonous creatures, which means that we retain our juvenile features into adulthood. So, all right, how do we put it to good use? So you, at this point, you're like, all right, cool, yeah, I'm bought in. Play and playfulness is a mindset, and it's also a practice. You don't just go to the gym once and come out with six-pack abs. Trust me, I tried. It doesn't work. But we approach this like every quarter, like, oh, we did this team building thing, and it was fun, and in the moment, like, yeah, we got together, but then we go back to work, and Bob in accounting is still a jackass. It's a practice. And so I want to talk about 2 areas that can use some infusions of play. These are 2 inflection points that have some big challenges, and that's meetings and breaks. Microsoft did a study during the pandemic where they tracked, I don't know how people agreed to do this, but they tracked with those EKG caps on tops of people's heads, and they found out when people went from meetings to meetings to meetings, by the 5th meeting, if they didn't have like proper intervention and stuff like that, they were fried. However, if they had interventions and they had sort of play and purposeful play, by the 5th meeting, it was as if they were just starting their day. So again, the research is catching up. Matter of fact, I did that that Brad mentioned. I went quickly before this, and I went to see play at work. You know, how many books? And it started in '95, and huge spike that started to go up after 2008. So makes sense. So it's still in its infancy, but we're starting to get there. And so the other thing, you know, is breaks, because again, we work more than we've ever done before. So how can we make the best of this other than checking our email? So in meetings, here's some things that you can do. Again, this is about being intentional. I have this belief that we should have connection over content. If we take a moment to have an intentional activity, what you're gonna do is create a dose. Dose is an acronym for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Those are the neurochemicals that help us trust each other, feel like we belong, be creative, and that happens through play. So whether that's a quick icebreaker game during meetings, like taking polls, during brainstorming moments, like do an activity for it, this is going to break things up and help us connect. And then the other thing is breaks. Most of the time, and I don't have to survey here, I bet you when it's time for a break, you know, we jump on social media or we check email. That is not a break. Matter of fact, it does not allow our brains to rejuvenate. So these are some easy things that you can do to start to get that playfulness into your day-to-day. So I want you to just take a moment, and I want this to be actionable. Think about one thing that you could do, and maybe, you know, during the lab time or during a break, you know, jot it down and have someone, have an accountability partner hold you to this. But how can you do it within 5 minutes? And I realized that there are other areas. These are just the top 2. So I'm gonna make a resource, and I'll make sure Angela gets it so that you can think about all the other ways that you can incorporate play. It's coming up. You'll get that soon. But it's my hope that by incorporating play and playfulness, we can start to shift from seeing the world as a proving ground to, once again, a playground of opportunities. And I'd like to leave you with a quote from Dr. Stuart Brown. When more people hold play to where it needs to be, the world can be a better place. So thank you, and that's it.